guys, I'm here today to do my top 14 books of 2014. I have 14 books and one honorable mention. I'm going to do the honorable mention first because it actually came out this year and I really did like it. It is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. I really like this book. It was a great conclusion to the series. The reason I gave it an honorable mention is because I have Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare on the list, and I like that book even more. But I thought that this was a great wrap up to a series and also a great introduction to her future series. I got a lot of answers and it left a lot of hope for characters, so I'm really excited to see what happens next in the Shadowhunter world. For Christmas, I got the Bane Chronicles, so hopefully to read them at some point this year and wait patiently for the next book in her series. Um, Number 14 on my list is The Clockworks Scarab by Colleen. This book is just because I reread it this year for the second time and I just really like it. I like the premise, I like the concept, I like the time period. I like the fact that there was two strong women as the leads. And it's such a good book. I love Sherlock Holmes and I love this interesting take on it and I love how it include the Bram Stoker into the storyline and had two strong women, the lead of stars. The mysteries are interesting, the mysteries are compelling, there's time traveling. It's just really excited. I really am excited to read The Spirit Glass Charab at some point this year. I just recently bought it. So again, this is why I just love this book. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you do. My top 13 book of 2014 was The Black Magic by Mary Jane. This is the third book in the Piper Donovan mystery series. I really like this book. I thought I went to an interesting location. I went to New Orleans. And it was fun. It was interesting. The mystery was, I didn't see the end coming. And also, it really was good at bringing incidents from previous books into this. So it felt like a continuation of a life rather than just another mystery in the story. I felt like I really knew Piper instead of just reading a character off the page. I really like her writing, and I really hope we get a new Piper Donovan mystery book soon. Number 11 is My True Love Gave to Me, 12 Holiday Stories. I truly adore this book. I just read it. I just finished it. I loved it. It was a great mix of romantic, a bunch of different authors, some that I've read, some that I've never read. Just romance, stories told from different perspectives in different genres. It just made me feel so excited for the holidays. And I highly recommend, if you like young adult literature and you're not a strong romance reader, read these. It will give you 12 reasons to want to fall in love for the holidays. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. The next book that I really loved in 2014 was the conclusion to the Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken, In the Afterlight. I really love this conclusion. This is probably one of my favorite series right now. I love it. I love the intensity. I love the drama that was brought. I love the character development. I love the ending. I loved how you finally learned what caused the disease. It was so well crafted, so well written. I really like Alexandra Bracken. I got to meet her twice this year. She's just such a good writer. I cannot wait for her new books to come out in subsequent years. Just such a strong trilogy. It's a little bit of an intense and darker trilogy, but it looks at superpowers in a really unique lens, and I highly recommend the series to you. Go check out my series review. I have a non-spoiler one and a spoiler one for you guys there. Check out, and you can see my more in-depth thoughts. My 10th favorite book of 2014 was Crown of Midnight by I read both Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight this year, and I really love them both, but I thought that Crown of Midnight was a much stronger book, and it really got me invested in the characters and really made me see the world for what it was. It was just a great book with so many twists and turns that I never saw coming. The ending has shocked me. I cannot wait to get my hands on the Heir of Fire and also read the novellas that she also created in this world. It is such a compelling mystery. I also met her this year, and I'm really hopeful to meet her again in the future when I've actually read her books to tell her how much I adore them. It is such a well-crafted fantasy series. I highly recommend it, and hopefully soon I'll be able to read Heir of Fire and the novellas. My ninth favorite book of 2014 was The Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead. This book again was such a strong conclusion to the Vampire Academy series. Again, I really loved it. It brought a lot of characters together. I got a lot of my things to succeed, like a lot of my predictions came true, and it was such a great book. I loved how Rose and Lissa really worked together and how their journeys came to an end, but it also introduced me to characters that I would see again in the Bloodlines book, and I just really really liked how she ended it. It was such a strong book, and I really liked Michelle Mead, and I was glad to see that she could really end a series with a punch and make it heartfelt at the same exact time. So I highly recommend, if you haven't read Vampire Week, to go check it out, and also look at her other series, Bloodlines, which is also set in the same world and follows several characters. My eighth favorite book of 2014 was The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith. If you do not know, this is J.K. Rowling. It's her second book in her Cormoran Strike mystery series. I really truly love J.K. Rowling. She could write her grocery list and I would read it. She's such a good storyteller, such a good crafter. She crafts such creative mysteries. I really like this one, and I think book lovers would like it because it really looks at the literacy world and looks like what goes on behind the scenes, and she's great. She's great at because she's such a famous author. But I really liked it. I love the character. I love the development of the characters. I loved not only the mystery but also seeing the world develop. So yeah, if you haven't checked out this book and you are a Harry Potter fan and you love the mystery aspects, highly recommend it. It is an adult book series, but they are so good. My seventh favorite book for 2014 is a novella, and it is by Katie McGarry, and it is called Crossing. Normally for me, novellas always fall a little bit flat because they're so short, but Katie McGarry was able to pack punch, emotion, heartbreak, and love into 250 pages. I fell in love for Lincoln and Lila hardcore. I could read this book all day. Oh my god, it made me feel so many things. It took me back to college and feeling so insecure, and I just wanted to go in there and hug Lincoln and hug Lila, and I hope one day we get more about them in a full-length novel, because this 250 pages was not enough. Go check out my detailed review about On Crossing the Line and how much I adored it, but I just had to give it a mention. I really love this book, and hopefully I'll be able to read it again in 2015 now that I have it in a hardback book, which was in Take Me On. My sixth favorite book of 2014 was The Murder Complex by Lindsay. This was the first straight up dystopian novel that I've read in a while that really captured my attention and I was so engaged with. I think it helped that the characters were relatable and interesting. The world was well developed. The book was so fast paced. Chapters were like 4 to 5 pages. It alternated perspectives. I was deeply engrossed in both characters' perspectives, and I just loved this book. I cannot wait for the new one to come out in May, and I must read the novella that I have. It's called The Fear Trials. It starts before it, but I think it follows Meadow. I fell in love with Meadow and Zephyr, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the future in this book series. That is why I put it on my 2000. My fifth favorite book in 2014 is also written by Katie McGarry, and it is Dare You To. This is the second book in the Pushing the Limit series, and it follows Ryan and Beth, and oh my god, I thought I could not love Katie McGarry any more than Crossing the Line, but these characters just took me by surprise. I loved them. I felt for them. It was such an interesting, engaging story, and I wanted them together so bad. It just broke my heart into a million pieces. I really felt for the characters, and I felt like I was there. Again, I felt like I was back in high school, and I just wanted them to be happy. I just love these characters so much. If you want to hear more about my information, just go to my book review that is on my channel a lot earlier in the year. But oh my god, I love this book so much, and I cannot wait to read more by Katie McGarry in 2000. My fourth favorite book in 2014 is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. It is the second book in her standalone companion book series. Out of Anna and Isla, I love this book. I felt for Lola. I felt for Cricket. I felt like I was Lola, and I could read this book all day if I wanted to. It was such an interesting story. I really felt for her, and I just wanted to know what happens. I breezed through these. Stephanie Perkins just really understands the teenage experience, and I think that this book, just to me, I felt for it. I felt like such a strong connection to it, and I wanted to know what happened. I love Cricket. I love Lola. I love the history. I love how the book really like dealt with a lot of issues and also dealt with cheating, which a lot of books do, but this book just did it in such like a nice way, and I really want to read more by Stephanie Perkins in the future, and excited to see where she goes, and hopefully one day maybe we'll get more out of this world. If not, I am so grateful for it. My third favorite book in 2014 is The Clockwork Princess. I really adored this series so much. I loved how it wrapped up. I said this before and I'll say it again. I think that the romance triangle in this book is probably one of the strongest love triangles I've read in all of young adult literature. I loved it so much. I loved everything that she did. I loved the characters. I loved the development. I loved seeing how this could affect City of Heavenly Fire because I hadn't read it before. I read this. I loved seeing how it did actually affect it. I'm so excited to see these characters again, hopefully in the future books of the series. Broke my heart, made me cry. I loved every single minute of it. I'm so excited to reread these books in the future and hopefully learn more about these characters in subsequent novels. But it was such a heartbreaking book, and I fell in love with the characters, and it was such a great ending. The last two books, my last two favorite books of 2014. Number 2 was We Were Liars by Lee E. Lockhart. If you have not read this book, I'm not going to spoil you, but go run out and pick it out. It is so short. It was amazing. It was creepy and weird, and I didn't know what was coming. It's a mystery that you don't really know what you're reading until the last chapter, and it is just so amazing. I just words cannot say how much I adore this book. I didn't do a book talk on it because I didn't want to give away anything, but maybe I'll do one now. I love this book so much. I really want to read more by E. Lockhart. I don't know if a lot of her other books are in the same vein, but this book is so good. So go out and read it. It's just such a creepy book, and I want to know if you can solve the mystery because I couldn't. My top book of 2014 is The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. It is the conclusion to the Heroes of Olympus series. I did a book talk on it, I did a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review. I love this ending. It was amazing. I got so much and so much more than I wanted. I loved it. It left the book so open-ended. If he does not come back to this world, I'm going to be hella mad. But I loved it so much. It was such a great conclusion. I got to see I got to see characters in a leading role that I didn't get to see throughout the entire series, and that was so refreshing to me, and I want more. It was such a good conclusion, and I could read it out. I love Rick Riordan, and that's no surprise. If you watched my channel before, you know that. But he really brought it home with the series, and I'm so excited to read his new Norse series coming up. But that is my top book of 2014. Let me know what your top book of 2014 was, what you really loved reading, and what you loved discussing. Comment below. Go on my Goodreads and my Twitter. I hope you guys have a great day, a great new year, and let's start reading for 2015. Have a nice night, everyone.